morning, my lovelies. Right, okay. So morning after the night before, last tutorial on putting the handles on. Just want to come back and just tell you one thing, you know. Listen to that. That is strong, okay? And I know you do see that. I just wanted to come back and sort of just point out, because I know all your crafters are going, oh, but unfortunately there really is no other way to do these. There is no other way because of the way the die is. So the only two joins you're going to see are along here, but I really do promise you, you're not, it's really, when you put it all together, you won't even think about that. And I was thinking, if you really are, you know, it's bothering you that much with the joins, you can always put some lovely, I'm just thinking, because the trouble is you've got the handle. You probably actually could, I'm just looking at where the handle lies on them, and I think it lies up. So you probably could, if you wanted to, cover them up and put some lovely flowers on there. But I just wanted to tell you, that isn't going anywhere, okay? Isn't going anywhere at all. And I also had another thought, and it was just regarding the bottom parts. Now, where did I put those other two? If you didn't want the gap here, okay, you could put it on that way. It was just an afterthought when I'd come back. You could put it on that way round. Do you see? So this is all flat to the edge. Do you see what I mean? So instead of turning it the way I have, you can put it that way up instead, so that there isn't, you can stick this. Do you see what I mean? You can stick that to the bottom, and then you don't get a gap underneath if you don't like it this way. But bearing in mind, you'll see down, you will see down the bottom. Not much, because once the carriages sit there, you won't. So you can swap it around and put your glue on here and glue that to the bottom, and then glue your edges to the sides. It was just an afterthought. There is another way to do that, but if my intermediate to advanced crafters are watching, you're going to find your own ways. This isn't a guide, okay? This is just something I've come up with. It's a good guide. It's a good start. And, you know, we are taking crafting to the extreme, in the sense of we are using lots of different elements from different products of tonics. So this is extreme, you know. I don't want to rub it on too much, because this is a bit of a long one. But when I say we've really not done too bad, our target, or my target, was to use the chai tea caddy with the rotating memoirs to make a Ferris wheel. Okay, and this, yes, we can do it. This is what we've got. Could we do even better than this? Yes, is the answer. We could. The reason, what you have to understand about Ferris wheels as well, the reason they sit like this will all depend on the shape you have in the middle, how it is, how it sits. Generally, if you look at Ferris wheels, even sometimes with circles, top ones sit in further. Also, with smaller ones, okay, I will stress again, our remit was to use the chai tea, my remit was to use the chai tea caddy for another project. That was something I wanted to use, which we can do, but we could do even better, especially with those. Now we've got the craft kit, the flower power one. You can make them so that they sit here. So rather than having a big carriage that's rocking like this, you can have a carriage that sits onto it, but the carriages will be a lot smaller. So if you want a little bit more of a uniform to look at the side, then we have to change this. We can't have a rocking, it's got to be more so that it's sitting and it's more flush. So we don't have a hexagon shape, we have more of a rectangle shape. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that might be something to think about. If you are doing these yourself and you want to change it, maybe you haven't got the chai tea caddy and you want to put a different subcart on there, then think about the shape of the cart that you're putting on. So instead of going for a half hexagon, go for a rectangle. Okay, go for a straight rectangle, and it will change the shape of the outside of your hexagon or octagon or whatever you're working on. So when I say they look like this, when you were using hexagon boxes, they look like this, right? That's what they look like. But when you are using a different shaped cart, my tape's not very good on this, I'm just looking at it. I must have the heat in here as well, which doesn't help. If you change the shape of your cart, you're going to change the look of it. So if you don't like this look, and believe me, it looks beautiful, it does look so much more different than it does in real life. It doesn't look like the way it does on there, because you can actually see the top ones, you can actually see it. If you do make them up, you'll understand what I'm saying. I think it's because the camera's not picking up seeing through here, but you can see through it. But that it will, if you don't do the filigrees, this is what it will look like. So yes, I just wanted to sort of explain that. But as a standalone project, using lots of different elements, I think we've done really well. Okay, I'm liking this idea, so I'm going to go with it and do some more afterwards. I've got a couple of other projects I've got to do first, but right, let's get back to the spindle because I've rabbited enough. All right, okay. Now, I'm going to complicate this even more because I said don't stick stuff on. Now, what you're going to need to do, and it actually doesn't matter whether you do it like this or, you know, probably prior to it, I'll be honest with you, it is a better bet. Your better bet is prior. So you've got your template, right? And this is from your template. So to find our centre points on both sides, it's really quite simple. Excuse me. All we're doing is we're matching up our hexagon. Okay, we're matching up our hexagon, to our middle point. So all we're doing here is we're drawing around a circle, okay? In fact, you don't even need to do that, okay? So what we'll do here, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. I know I've done that. Oh, can I do it on this side? I've already done it on that side as well. What I'm saying is you don't need to do the circle, okay? So take your template, right? Pop your little washer back in and draw around the inside washer, okay? That is what you need to do. You don't need to do the circle outside. I'm going to do it again in a minute because I'm going to put some paper on there. Like I said, I wouldn't. So you don't need the outer circle. You need the inner circle. You need the inner, because the washers, remember we've used our 3 layers already here that compensate. So your nuts, that's going to be your guideline to put your washers on. You see, like that. So you don't need the outer circle. I'll say it one more time. You only need the inner. So you're taking your template, right? You're taking your washer, popping that back inside your template, lining it up nice and straight, because you're going to have your lines there where you've drawn your lines from your template, and then you just draw around and that gets your shape. Right, so that is how we use our guide, and I now know, sorry, I've really got to rush a bit now because I've been messing about. But yes, I now know that you don't need to do the 2, okay? You only need to do the 1. So if you go back to part 1, okay, I can't change it now, unfortunately. But if you go back to part 1, don't do the smaller one, only do the largest one. Trying to think whether it would even make a difference if you'd done the smaller one and not the large one. Right, it probably wouldn't. Okay, so now I told you yesterday, do not stick any more things on. Okay, didn't I? I said to you, whatever you do, don't stick anything on here. I'm still sticking by that, okay? I'm trying this out on camera. I'm still sticking by that majorly, because you're going to add weight to it. Now this is like, can you hear that? It's paper. These are some papers that I got in a magazine. I can't remember which one it was, years and years and years ago, some Christmassy ones. And honestly, they are like thin copier paper, right? thin copy of paper. So I think this is not going to have a massive effect, but for your one, please don't do this. If you want to use it, remember the method here is always using the same cardstock, right? And having 3 layers. Do you understand? 1, and we've got 2 of these. That's your method, having 3 layers. Do you see what I mean? So just making sure that's straight. So certainly for your first one, don't do it. Okay, this is my 3rd one now, and I'm pretty confident this really isn't going to have that much effect. I mean, it's so paper thin. It's really not. Right, so I'm just going to come in and just repot. I just wanted to, because I've done a Christmas theme. 1, I wanted to try this out. And 2, I thought, I wonder if it's going to have an effect. So I'm doing it on mine. Don't do it on yours, okay? Stick with 3, using the same weight and colour cardstock. Yep. Right. Just putting my marker in on that side, and making sure as well when I'm putting my markers in, I'm doing it on the same, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm doing it on the same side hexagon. I'm doing it the same way. That makes sense. Right, that's done. All done. Okay, let's pop that out of the way. Right, now for making our handles. Let's go for the opposite side first. Okay, now I can show you this now. I can show you it now. Now I stuck with using the same handle. You know, I like this handle. I noticed there's some in the, what are they called? The tiered boxes. I haven't got those. I might have to have a look. But yes, I noticed this. So then you may be able to swap, mix and match with the handles. But don't, for this one, let's just stick with what we've got here. So I decided to keep this handle on the back. So we've got our long spinning handle, but I just think it looks, visually it looks pretty, and I just think, you know, it gives you extra stability. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's going to give you that extra stability at the back, and if you do want to use 2 hands to turn it, you've still got that option. So don't take it away. I think it does look very, very pretty. Right, so let's just make up. I'm going to try and run as quick as I can, because I know you've now seen me do this quite a bit, but I just want to say there are lots of different ways you can go about doing this. Okay, you don't have to go with my method on this one. Experience to advance, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. As long as you keep the 3 washers on, and I was contemplating actually putting 4 spindles. I've got 4 down there. But I think because we have gone ahead, and the method we've used on this one is sticking the spindle in the middle to the back. We've used that method. I think we've pushed it out a bit more. So that's why I was thinking, should I use 4 washers? But I really don't want to break the method of it, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to stick with 3. If I think it's going to need 4, I'll let you know afterwards. But the trouble is with this one, we haven't got a lot of leeway, okay? Because we have, you know, put the spinner through the middle. You know, listen, you don't have to, when you're doing it like this, you don't even have to put the spinner in the middle. You could just work from the outside. You can just work from, do you understand what I'm saying? You don't even have to put this spindle in the middle if you don't want to. You could just leave it out. But stability wise, it is, in this case, it is actually helping. It is helping the stability of the structure, actually. So we've only really got 2 options, you know, and 3 options: reinforcing, sticking it like we have done this way, oh, I've got to go along all of these ones. I hate these ones. Red tape, come on, come off. Where was I? Yeah, 3 ways, didn't we? Reinforcement, using the craft knife or doing it the way we've done it. So again, it's the same as the rotating memoirs, it's just that the methods are slightly different at the end when you're, you know, if you're doing it that way, then the methods are slightly different. Your measurements, you'll know, intermediates to advanced, you're going to know what I'm talking about here. You're going to go, yeah, I know what she means. So that's why I said this is an intermediate project, because it does require a bit of thought when it comes to the weight and how we're using this, because this is something that we've thought up, right? It's a thought up project. Right, I'm going to close this washer off. I'm making it stable. The reason I'm doing it, I'll give you my reasons if you're advanced and you're thinking, oh, how come she's I'm putting it on in this manner because I just want that stability. Plus I'm using 200 GSM, okay? This is 200, right? So I want to make that as hard, rigid and stable as possible. That's why I've gone down the road of, should I put some more on here? I'm just thinking I'm going to put 3. Now the reason I'm going to put 3 on that one is because it's a 200, and this is not going to make a difference, because this is the outer. This is where it's going to get very difficult, especially if you are a beginner and you're watching. You might not understand this, but because this is the outer part of the spindle, this is not making no difference to the way it is. It doesn't. You can build it out as much as you want, building it out. This is the part that matters. That's the part that sits in your wheel, and that's the part that matters. So I've decided to go with 3 on that one, okay? So there you go. You're going to need one of these for that handle, one of those, 3 of these. If you're using a 200, if you're using 300, you only need 2. If you're using a 200, you're going to need 3. Do you understand? Right? Experienced moderate, you will. Now, you're going to need on each side. Oh, this is so difficult. Let me just stick them onto each other and let me just feel it again and just feel the weight. I'll tell you why. It's because we've reinforced, this time we've reinforced the structure, but we've reinforced it and used 3 new panels at the top. Have we used 3? 1, 2, yes, we've used 3. So really, in theory, because you're only using 2 on the other one, in theory, when you use 3, the spindle should really be 4, right? But because we've pushed it out on the other side, you'll understand if you're an experienced crafter what I'm talking about. Because we've pushed it out at the side, we've not left a lot of leeway in the middle. But we are bringing it out. So shall I go for 4? Shall I do it? I'm going to go for 4. But I'll tell you at the end if you need 4 or 3. Remember, stressing again, this is 200 GSM, right? 300 GSM, you're not going to have to change it. It will be 3. But I am going to go for 4. I never make my life easy, do I? Never, ever, ever make it easy. Right. Okay, so now we've got our 4. We're going to pop our 4 onto our marker. Okay, you're not going to see the marker. You're not going to see that at all. It'll be gone. Nice and nice bit of glue on here. This is where the drying. This is where you've got your drying process. Right. So this now is going to be the back. Okay, this is going to be the back of our carriages. Okay, right, we're going to pop this on here. Okay, try not to get any glue too far on the outer edges. Okay, you do need glue on there, but just a little bit of a tip from me, it will squash out a bit, and you don't really want it going over because it does have an effect. So I'm just going to get under and rough that there. Okay, you can, that's your guideline. Okay, that is your guide. So let's just set that to aside for one moment, and let's now work on our handle. Okay, so now we've got our back on, and yeah, I think that does, I think it does make for a better back. This is why I say, because you are limited to the decoration in the middle, because of having only being allowed to use 3 layers, 1, 2, 3, you're limited. This, as a 200, that I will say that outside of it is quite flimsy. It is. So I think in hindsight, if you're really looking for a real professional look, I mean, if this is for you and you're just trying it out, you know, you don't want to go OTT, it's still going to work. But if you're looking to do them for selling, for craft fairs, you want to sell this product, you're really going to have to go for a 300. And you're going to have to use 300 throughout the whole, excuse me, project. Now, you're going to need 4 of these, by the way. So we've used 4 on the other side, so we'll use 4 of these. You need 4 of the bigger, 4 of the smaller, 1 of your handle, and I'll come to that in a minute. Yeah, I mean, with the 300, I haven't done one with 300 because I sometimes find that 300 can throw you out a little bit. So I maybe do one, you know, I am actually, now I've received the Flower Power kit and I saw those I saw that, you know, we can make carts with them. I'm now quite, you know, I really want to give that a go. I was also thinking about seeing if I could actually find a way of doing a smaller one. Trouble is we're limited because of the handle. We're very, very limited to what we can do. We can only really do that size unless I can come up with something miraculous. I don't think I'm going to be able to. If I'm being honest with you, I think that will be it's going to be a no-no. I won't be able to come up with anything there. But yes, I did, you know, it would have been nice maybe to have a little bit of a smaller one because it still would involve lots of cutting, but sometimes when you're working smaller projects it can be a little bit easier. You've got to remember, this is a substantial, these are substantial wheels. They're not small, they really aren't small. It's a big project, this one, and they come out lovely. In fact, out of standalone projects, apart from obviously the tailored frames, right? The tailored frames, you know, you can make those, and they're big projects, aren't they? They're really big. You can you know, make a massive wall feature with those. So as features, just take that away, they're big. But other than those, this is probably one of the biggest projects out of dies, out of our die sets that I've managed to get, if I'm being honest. You can, I suppose, if you're doing sort of advent calendars and using boxes, then I suppose they're going to be big. Right, okay, so I'm just having a look, I'm just double checking, I'm just using this as a marker just to make sure, yes, that I'm going right. Okay, so we're now going to pop this on the end because this end part now is not having any effect to the structure. Okay, this is sort of the decoration at the end of your spindle, so we don't have to worry. In fact, I'm just sitting here thinking I could have made this up, but I'll speed ahead. I will speed ahead with this. My favourite part, does anybody else hate red tape? I can't stand it. I mean, I like it, it's brilliant, don't get me wrong. If the purpose of it is to, you know, is to stick your projects together, and yes, it does, but I just can't stand this. I wish they would find a different way, or a different thing, a different, instead of this red stuff, because it just gets everywhere. It drives me insane. You know, I go into the craft room, walk out, and I've got like all these red bits just stuck everywhere. I don't know if everybody else gets that, but they go everywhere, don't they? But yeah, back to the Ferris wheel. I've lost my train of thought a little bit, but yes, yeah, big projects I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, they're nice, substantial projects. Again, very limited. Have I got to cut out more? No, I haven't. Let me just think what I'm doing. No, I don't. Yes, I do need, I'm going to need another one of these, aren't I? I'm going to need another one for the end here. That's where I've gone. So you're going to need to cut another one of those. I was looking at it thinking, something's not right here. Okay, so this is your end part, and this has no value to it really. This is just more decoration. Oh, I put some. I think as well, because I'm using a 200 GSM on this one as well. Let's just move that out of the way. Because I'm using 200 GSM. I've just got to pop that down. It's sticking a little bit to the. There we go. Right, that's on there. Right, so this is your end part, okay? This is going to be your end part, and will have no value, no added value at all to the actual finished. It's just, this is the decoration, if you understand. It's the important bit is the spindles, okay, which we're going to get to in a minute, right? So let me just pop that on there, just popping this on here. That's our lovely little end, okay? So this is what I'm saying as well. I don't know if I did say, didn't I, about being limited. I don't know if I can't remember if I went into that, but being limited on sort of colour and decoration. That's why I'm saying use a couple of different coloured cardstocks. Use 3 different cards. You know, I was thinking 2, but actually if you use 3 throughout the whole project, make sure you've got 3 of the same brand, whatever it is, the same GSM, then you can put whatever, you can mix and match, and then that will change the colour of it, because otherwise if you work with one colour, you're limited, aren't you, to what you can do. Right, I'm just waiting for that to dry a little bit more. Let's put these washes together. So we had 4 on one side. I'm going to start speeding up a little bit more now. So we're going to try 4, and I do hope that's going to give me a little bit more of a, not a gap, but a bit of breather for it to turn, okay? And if not, I shall tell you, go for 3. Remember, if we put it on, because I will have to go back and come back on, of course, because we've got to wait and see if this is gonna, we just have to wait for it to dry. Right, okay, so with this one, I am going to have to just cut another one of these. I'll do that in a second, okay? Now I'm going to have to just cut. Let's just pop that on there so you can see. But I do have to cut another one of these just to put on the end here. So I think we had to have 5 on this side, didn't we? 1, 2, 3. How many did we use here? 1. I put 2 on the bottom of it, did I? Can't remember now, but you'll watch it back anyway, and you'll see exactly what I'm doing, and I'll maybe make a little list of exactly all the bits you need. Okay, so I'm going to cut another one for those. Right, let's just move on quickly to these. Okay, our last part. Now this is making up this part. Let's just show you on here. It's making up this part here of the spindle, right? So this is out the tantalus. Now originally I had cut 6 of them, but this card, I ran out of the red 200 GSM, right? I completely ran out, and I haven't had time to get into town to pick up some more, okay? So the only thing I could do to just get this tutorial out before the week, you know, for the weekend, was to use this, okay? And this is, oh, it's definitely not 200, put it that way. So I would say it's 100 and something. I'm going to be lucky if it was even 140. It's that flimsy, it really is. So I've cut 8. I've cut 8, but it's only 4 passes because you put them through the same pass, right? Okay. You will, once you start getting going along. Now, the replacement for this would be, you would have to draw something yourself, okay? If you didn't have the tantalus set, do you remember I said to you, you could use string, or maybe find something else within your Tonic products and stash that may work. But those are the only 2 for this part, and these bits, this bit which forms part of the spindle, right? that those are the bits that we've used out the tantalus. So they're the only bits you'd have to replace. Right, so I did 6 prior, so I'm just having a look and just seeing what this is like at 6, but I'm thinking I'm going to go for 8, and I'm going to wait for that to dry, just because, in fact, should I just leave it at 7? You would do, if you're using the 2, go for 6, okay? I'm just doing it a bit more, like I said, because the paperweight I've used. In fact, that might do it. That might do the trick, okay? So let me just quickly cut while that's drying. This is what I would advise you to do. I would advise you quite strongly to wait until, like I said with the box, okay? Wait until, excuse me, I'm just going to cut one more out of the washers, right? Very, very quickly. I would advise you to wait until they're all dry. Wait until they've hardened up a little bit, and then once they've hardened up, right, then start using them. Because if you start putting them on all wet and they bend, it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna work. It really, really isn't. So I'm nearly done. It was just one more that I wanted to put on there, just to give it, you need that, it needs to be rigid is what I'm saying. It does need to be rigid. So I'm just going to pop that last one on there. Apologies, by the way, if you can hear my son. He's, you know, it's always his playtime when it's my craft time. So plus as well, it's Saturday today. So let them run wild, I say, on the weekends. Allowed to do what they want, right? Right, so there we go. So that's your handle. So now you can see exactly what we're going to do. You can see where this is going now, can't you? We're now at the final stages, and I will come off and I will come back. Let's just take that off. Right, I'll just show you how this is put on. You are I'm going to stress again, you are going to wait for yours to dry, okay? Because you do unfortunately have to stand it up. Right, so can you see that? Yes, you can. Fantastic. Right, okay, so we're going to pop our our little washers on here, okay, where we have our marker. Just having a look. There we go. So there's our marker, and you should be able to push right down, because that is as close as you're going to get it in ways of it being straight, okay? And then it's quite obvious, isn't it? You're then going to pop your, did I have one there? I'm just thinking actually whether I had one there or not. Let me just think. I think I did. Right, so you're going to need a couple more. So how many did I have there? Well, do you know what? Right, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to. I am going to have to cut one out, right? So we do need another one. I've got one here. Let's just pop that on. I wonder if I've got, I'm just thinking whether I could just use another one if I have one up here without, right, one more. So what I'll do is I'll go away now, and I can come back and I'll see how many I've used, because it looks like we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big ones for this, haven't we? Sorry, I just I didn't realise, I'd forgotten all about that, because that's it is important that you have those there as well, because anything on the outside gives it more stability, because it's not having any effect on the actual inners, only the middle parts are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Advanced will know. Right, let's just pop these on together. Do you know why? If you had 300, it wouldn't really be that much of an issue. But because I have where are we? It's just, because I have 200, I'm just trying to, do you understand? Harden it up a bit. And it is important actually here, because that's your outer edge, okay? So again, just be careful, don't get too much glue on this outer edge. because that's where it's sitting, if you know what I mean. That's where your spindle is sitting on the stand, and you don't want too much out there, okay? So there we go, we're just going to pop that one on here. Then we're going to bring our handle in. I'm really making sure this is flattened right out, you see. I don't want to have troubles with this. It's just because it's not really strong enough card, okay? So then I'm going to have to wait for this to dry and come back. So you are then going to pop your handle. So your handle is going to go in here just like that. So it's going to sit on the edge, but believe me, it's going to be fine. Okay, it will just sit up, so it will just touch this edge so that you've got it on there nice and tight. You'll find a nice way, and then we are sticking that to here, and that is going to be your handle. Okay, so that's how it's going to sit. So let me stick these on, and then let's come back and let's pop our cage on and see how it works. So I shall see you in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.